I have with me a chartered accountant and public affairs analyst, Sheson Kwade, and the journalist, Ifi Oyegbule. Thank you very much for staying with us.
Thank you for having us.
All right, so we're looking at the newspapers now. The Vanguard is saying here, why police misuse arms, kill on duty. That's according to the IGP, and the writer says stops 12-hour two-shift work structure in police, directs reversal to traditional 8-hour three-shift standard, poor supervision, wickedness responsible for killing, says SAV. Stress is a factor, says doctors. Nigeria at war, says Shehu Sani. Senate summons IGP Adamu to appear at plenary next week. We move to The Guardian. It says Senate summons IGP moves to check banditry in northern states. The riders here say 11-year-olds use AK-47 rifles in Zamfara. 3,000 northerners in abductors' den. Kidnapping has increased cost of road construction. Foreign firms budget for ransom. Daily Sun says Buhari holds valedictory FEC with ministers May 22nd. Takes decision on cabinet dissolution thereafter. The Blueprint says banditry jailed Dariye, 107 senators summon IGP. 10,000 bandits living in Zamfara, says Yari. Adamu inaugurates zonal police forum. FEC okays 52 billion naira for border e-monitoring. The Nation says 3,000 in kidnappers' den as Senate Labour seeks action. NLC to Buhari, overhaul security. Upper Chamber invites acting IGP. The Tribune says Senate summons IGP over growing insecurity. The riders here say list Dariye as co-sponsor of motion from prison. Says government should set up task force to tackle banditry in Kaduna, Katsina, Zamfara. Wants police to deploy use of drones in tackling kidnappers who ask for ransom. Demands for special security cover for foreign workers, tourists. All right, so let's move into the newspapers. And the Vanguard is saying why police misuse arms, kill on duty. That's according to the IGP. And one of the riders here says stops 12-hour two-shift work structure in police.
Will that solve any problem?
12 hours, it might be a possibility.
That it will stop them from misusing arms, as it were. Even if you give them 3 hours. I hear there's an 8-hour shift now. Standard shift that is in place. But would it stop it? You find that sometimes you find policemen drinking alcohol at the very wrong times of the day. There was this picture that trended recently, I think days ago, on the internet about a policeman fully dressed and he had a bottle of beer in his hand. So you asked me the question, when you take beer very early in the morning or at wrong hours when you're supposed to be at work, of course it will sometime alter your thinking and all of that. And you find that that's when you get people misusing arms. So I don't think the 12-hour thing that he's stopping will bring any change.
But the 12-hour shift also might alter their health condition. So the 8 hours might be a good deal for them.
Yeah, whether 8 hours, 12 hours, 24 hours, the fundamental thing is the orientation of the people we're talking, the attitude. Just take, for example, what if he just said, oh, how will you drink on duty? It's against the ethics of their profession. And you are holding rifle, that anything can happen. You see, you are not drunk. Ordinary frustration can take you out of ground. Now you are drunk, frustrated, and you're facing somebody. You won't even know when you trigger the fire, and it's what is alarming. And also, you see, it's not about the hours of work. It's about these guys working as policemen actually wanted to be there, or the last resort. Okay. You see, being a journalist, I'm sure it's what you actually aspire to do while you're young. You want to go for journalism and all those things. But an average policeman that you see on the street, see it as last resort. The guy is just there because nothing is happening, and he just wants to get something done for himself.
Even if it's a last resort, you mentioned something about orientation. The curriculum in police colleges, it's supposed to do a lot to change the mindset.
Have you been to the police college?
Yes, I have.
Have you been there?
Yes,
What did you observe?
Well, now it's a clean environment.
Now it's a clean environment. He talked about orientation. I served with the army, Rukuba Barracks, those days or years ago in Jos Plateau State. No, I was in the public relations department. But you find out that these people are disciplined. they have an idea when you don't even get into a bar in your uniform. It never happens. Because, of course, your superior officer might find you doing that, and that's very wrong. But you find policemen, some policemen all over the place, drinking and all of that.
You know, that would take you to that fact that what one of the writers said, monitoring. It's not just going to police college and you have the orientation. Somebody should be out there to check your activities.
Checkmate. Let there be, you commit this offense, let there be a penalty. There's supposed to be discipline. Someone asked the question this morning, does anybody aspire to get into the police? Have you ever seen a child, you ask that child, what you want to be when you grow up?
Very few of them.
Very few of them.
Very few.
They are good policemen.
Yeah.
But you find that there are more bad ones
than the good ones.
The good ones. That's the truth. I've met very good policemen.
Of course.
Learn, you know, very educated and all of that. But I think they need to monitor them. And sometimes self-censorship is the best that anybody can think of.
All right, thank you very much for joining us on the newspaper review this morning.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you very much.
And I have with me a chartered accountant and public affairs analyst, Sheson Okwade, and a journalist, Ifi Onyeguli. Thank you, gentlemen of the press, for coming on TVC Breakfast this morning.
Thank
All right, let's head straight to the papers, and I start with the Vanguard. Why police misuse arms, kill on duty. That's Inspector General of Police speaking there. Stops 12-hour two-shift work structure in police. Directs reversal of traditional 8-hour three-shift standard. Poor supervision, wickedness responsible for killings serve. Stress is a factor. Doctors, Nigeria at war. Sheikh Husani, Senate summons IGP Adamu to appear at plenary next week. On the front page of The Guardian, Senate summons IGP moves to check banditry in northern states. 11-year-olds use AK-47 rifles in Zamfara. 3,000 northerners in abductors' den. Kidnapping has increased cost of road construction. Foreign firms budget for ransom. And on the front page of the Daily Sun, Buhari holds valedictory effect with ministers May the 22nd, takes decision on cabinet dissolution thereafter. On the front page of Blueprints, banditry jailed Dariye 107 senators summon IGP. 10,000 bandits living in Zamfara, Yari. Adamu inaugurates Zona Police Forum. FEC OK's 52 billion naira for border e-monitoring. To the Nation now, 3,000 in kidnappers' den as Senate Labour seek action. NLC to Buhari. Overhaul security. Upper Chamber invites the Acting Inspector General of Police. And finally, on the front page of the Nigerian Tribune, Senate summons IGP over growing insecurity, lists Dariye as a co-sponsor of motion from prison, says government should set up task force to tackle banditry in Kaduna, Katsina, Zamfara, wants police to deploy use of drones in tackling kidnappers who ask for ransom, demands for special security cover for foreign workers and tourists. All right, we'll go to the Daily Sun now, and one story that might interest you is Buhari saying that Buhari holds valedictory effect with ministers May the 22nd, takes decision on cabinet dissolution. Well, before now, the president had asked for a comprehensive status report on policies and projects by the ministers, and now we're seeing that he says May 22nd is the final day. And before now, there have been talks about some persons trying to see if they could perhaps find a way.
Make a comeback.
Make a comeback. All right, if you let's start with you this time.
Of course, this is expected when a new government is coming into office, whether it's someone who's just, you know, staying back. It's a new government that is coming, so it's expected that there'll be a dissolution of the cabinet. The work that you have done, it always takes me back to what Chief Emeka Anyaoku said to me when we were talking about the power of incumbency, why some people want to keep staying in office, sit tight and all that. And he says that the work that you do will always speak for you. And you're not even the one who would clamor to want to stay on or come back.
It will be there.
It's there, it's clear. It will speak for you and it will keep you in office. So I'm sure the president, everyone keeps knocking him, but you know there are men who are there who are supposed to be doing the job. If you've done the job, definitely if there's any reason for you to come back, you will. But if you've not done well, I think you should tell yourself the truth and walk away.
Speaking of who has done well and not done well, perhaps Sheson might want to just give an appraisal of the various ministries.
When you look through the ministries, well, for me, the final appraisal lies with the president. Whatever appraisal we give at this point is just our personal view. And pretty well, some of them have done fantastically well, and we know some that, pardon me, bench woman. They were just there because it's like a child who is underage and you ask to force him to enter university to go and study mass comm. And you say, why have you gone to study mass comm? My mommy said I should be here. There are some ministers, no apology to anyone, that are there because they just appointed them to fulfill all righteousness, why some have actually walked.
So it wasn't their fault after all?
It wasn't their fault, but you see, there's always opportunity for everyone. They give you an opportunity to do something, you should be able to just oppose that we are here. At least if you will not act, fake it, to make sure that you're working. But they are not just there to do anything because they have that
well, I won't believe that they should fake it. You're there to do a job. You were appointed to do a job. You've got to deliver. Let's look at the Minister of Labor who came out recently. It was in all of the papers to say that doctors can leave if they want because Nigeria has more than enough. Who says such a thing?
That was a careless statement.
Yes, he was not.
Careless.
He's
reverted this
right
morning.
And center. But we saw another report this morning where he said Nigeria will take care of the doctors. They will be well trained.
And they don't even have enough facility to train them.
You don't speak like that. Now the president came around, he commissioned, we saw some of those equipments there and all of that. This is what we're talking about. Hospitals need to be equipped and all that, but not for a minister of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. You don't talk like that. You should know the things that you say, because once you say it, no one's looking at you.
It's in the hair.
Everyone will hit the president for, even appointing someone like you. And this is someone who should know. And you say people can go wherever they want. People will now go back to what it was that was ascribed to the president, where he said, anyone who wants to leave, Nigerians are lazy youths and all that. So they need to find a way to stop all of this. So
that is, all right, we have those that will be coming in now. We know how long it took the president to, get these people together, 6 months. So now, what would you say the president should put before him, since you said that there are some persons who were like round pegs in square holes?
The president, after the last election, he came out and said he's out to correct some of the mistakes. Yes. He admitted point blank that there were mistakes on the first time, which he is out to correct. I believe the new admin, we can have up to 6 months to have this appointment. Definitely, I know he has set the ball rolling because it's just continuity that we're talking of here. So I'm sure within 2-3 weeks, he should be able to put the cabinet on board.
2-3 weeks.
Yes, he already know the performing ministers. If you are going to change portfolio,
that would be like magic.
No. If he's not doing that, I will tell you that that's another way that people will just eat back at him. You are not coming in fresh. You've been in government, you know the lapses, and you know.
But whatever the president does, I'm hoping that someone's watching. They need to tell him we want more women in that cabinet.
Go ahead and advocate, Ify. I'm supporting you. I'm supporting you.
All right, thank you, Ify, and thank you, Sheson, for your time on TVC Breakfast.